Gene expression. That's a gene expression.
So it certainly affects gene expression. Yeah.
It's the study of trait variations that are caused by these.
Great. So the study of variation in gene expression and traits that you see that are not caused by variations in actual gene sequence. This is exactly not what Mendel was talking about, right? Are there some examples of epigenetics in humans? Identical twins. So what about identical twins? Yeah, identical twins are a great example.
They have exactly the same genes, yet they have different traits that are expressed.
Yeah, exactly the same genome, but if any of you know identical twins, you know that they are two different people. And that's not a result of the sequence of their genome or the sequence of their genes. And I guess maybe I answered this already, but how is epigenetics different from simple mutation selection? Thinking about how Darwin talked about evolution.
Because it worries about more than just the gene sequence, right?
Yeah, so Darwin was focusing on sequence of genes and alleles, and epigenetics is different, of course, because it's not the sequence of genes or alleles, but there's certainly evidence that these epigenetic marks are inherited. So I know there was a video that went along with this article. There's also it's a good video, you should watch it if you didn't. There's also a Radiolab episode called Inheritance that talks about epigenetics and the effect that mothers can have on their young and some other stories. If you liked Jad Apmarad and Robert Kolwich, it's a really good episode. If you want to know a little bit more about epigenetics, that's another great resource. So, are there other questions about epigenetics? And then we'll go back to talking about genes after this. But are there any questions about this article? Or epigenetics? No? Okay. Okay, so thinking back now about Mendel and gene sequence, we have these purple flowers. We know that there's a gene controlling flower color. We know that there are multiple alleles because you can have purple flowers or white flowers, and you know that these are inherited gene sequence. But we also know that it's not the DNA that's making the flowers purple, it's something else. So you've probably heard of the central dogma before. Which is DNA to RNA to protein. So Darwin was thinking about DNA, about genes, and about alleles. And then those genes get expressed through RNA, and then you get proteins, and proteins are what's actually doing whatever is going on in the cell. So, let's see. Oops, is that my first slide? No. Oh, I disappeared one of my slides. So anyway, so I had some questions that we're going to address that'll go with some of these keywords. So first, one of them was what gene expression is. We want to talk about the central dogma. We're going to talk about transcription and some of the components that are involved in transcription. We're going to talk about translation and some of the components that are involved in translation. We're going to talk about some of the bonds that are made and broken during these processes. And I had one more, and maybe I'll remember by the end. So, and these are some of the keywords. They're actually, you can go ahead and. there's a worksheet that goes along with this, and these keywords are in the back of your worksheet, and then I've added a few more.